Hello everyone, welcome to the new session of Poultry Housing Part 1. So in this session we are going to study about need for the poultry house. Why there is a need of poultry house. We are going to study this particular part. Layout of poultry farm. What is the layout of poultry farm? So its dimension and all other framework that is required to build a poultry farm we are going to study in this particular topic. Different types of poultry houses. So we are having different types of poultry houses that will be covered in this particular topic, and housing of poultry. So in this session we are going to cover all this part of this lecture. Okay, so the first thing, that is the need for the poultry house to protect bird from the adverse climatic conditions. So we are having birds and we should protect them for adverse climatic conditions. So we need a proper poultry house for them. Okay, ensure easy and economic operations to ensure scientific feeding in a controlled manner. So we require eggs and meat from the poultry house, right? So some scientific feeding method should be there, right? So that they are in a good health and they can produce lots of eggs and meat also. To facilitate proper microclimatic conditions in a near vicinity of the bird. So we have to provide microclimatic condition required for their proper growth, right? So our house means this poultry house should be in that manner that you can provide those microclimatic condition for effective disease and control measures. So in this particular poultry house we should have a disease control measure also, so that all the birds should not get under the disease, any type of disease, to ensure proper supervision. And so large number of birds that can be have a proper supervision also in the poultry house. So there is a requirement, there is a need for poultry house. Selection of location. To build a poultry house, first of all there must be location, site location. So poultry house should be located away from the residential and industrial area, right? So these poultry houses, they should not be built near the residential area or any industrial area, first thing. And it should have a proper road facilities because they have to transport it from one place to another. So there should be proper road facilities wherever the poultry house has been made. It should have the basic amenities like water and electricity. So these two things are very, very important for the poultry house, because a proper for the proper cleaning, for the proper drinking water, right? So water is ultimate requirement for the poultry house. Next requirement is the electricity, right? So electricity is also required because some temperature management, okay, and for proper supervision also electricity is required. Availability of farm laborers and relatively cheaper wages, at relatively cheaper wages. So farm labor should be available easily wherever the poultry house is made. So before building the poultry house, these things should be kept in mind. Okay, availability of farm laborers at relatively cheaper wages. Poultry house should be located in an elevated area and there should not be any water logging. Very, very important. So we should not make any poultry houses in water-logged condition or the places where there is a chance of water logging in rainy season. Okay, and it should not be made in any elevated area. It should have proper ventilation. So they require proper fresh air. Okay, so for that proper ventilation should be there. So the area should not be crowded or closed type. It should be open for the proper ventilation. Layout of poultry farm. So the second topic of this session is the layout of poultry farm. A small poultry farm doesn't require any special layout as it involves constructions of only one house. So if you have one small house, that is enough for a small size poultry farm, right? For a small size poultry farm, you do not require any construction, okay? Special type of construction. So one small house is enough. The medium and large size farm require a special considerations for the placement of building in the farm and premises. So if we are considering for the medium and large size farms, then there is a requirement of special consideration for the placement of building, where the building should be made and the area should be proper, right? So and all the other requirement should be kept in mind before selecting any layout for the poultry farm. And this is for the medium and large size poultry farm, right? The basic principle to be observed for the layout are, so what are the basic principles that should be observed for the layout are? Layout should not allow visitor or outside vehicles near the bird. So very important, right? So birds should not get exposed to any type of strange people like visitors, and also the outside vehicles even. Okay, the shed should be so located that the fresh air first passes through the brooder shed and followed by the grower and layer sheds. Okay, so if this is a proper ventilation site, then the fresh air first time passes to the brooder shed, and from this the air should pass to grower shed, and at last the air should pass to the layer sheds. So this is the arrangement in any type of poultry farm, right? So first of all, the brooder shed must be there, then grower shed be there, and then the layer shed be there. And the proper ventilation is towards the brooder shed side. This prevents the spread of diseases from the layer house to brooder house. So if there is some diseases in the layer house, then it should not, there is a less chance of spread of disease from the layer to the brooder side. There should be a minimum distance of 50 to 100 feet between the chick and grower shed. So this is very important that we should maintain a distance between the chick and grower shed, and the distance between the grower and layer shed, that is minimum 100 meters. This is very important point. Okay, the egg store room, office room and the feed store room should be located near the entrance to minimize the movement of people around the poultry shed. So if the people are there or the worker are there, okay, to take away the egg from the storeroom, so they should not get to all poultry farms. If this is the entrance of the poultry farm, suppose this is the entrance, then this egg store room, this is the egg store room, so it should be at the entrance only. Okay, it should not be at the end. This is incorrect placement of the layout, because if the strange people or the any people who are taking away this egg from the storeroom, they should not go all over this poultry layout or the poultry farm, right? So they should only go to the egg storeroom, took the egg and get away. And we should have office room also at this particular site. Office room. So this office room and egg storeroom should be at the entrance of the poultry farm. The disposal pit, sick room should be constructed only at the extreme end of the site. Very important. Now there must be extreme end of the site. So at this particular extreme end, what should be placed? Disposal pit. There should be a pit that is called as disposal pit, right? To get disposed of waste. And there should be a sick room also. Sick room also to take care of any sick birds. So what should be at the entrance and what should be at the extreme end, that should be followed in the layout of poultry farm, right? Different types of poultry farms. So the next topic is the different types of poultry houses. First one is brooder or chick house. It is used to brood and rear egg types chick from 0 to 8 weeks of age. So in this particular brooder or chick house, 0 to 8 weeks of age chicks are kept. Grower house. It is used to grow egg type birds from 9 to 18 weeks of age. So in this generally the birds grow. So that is the grow egg type. Brooders cum grower house. Here the birds are reared 0 to 18 weeks of age, an entire brooding and growing period of egg type chicken. So here also the egg type chicken are placed, that is at the age to 0 to 18 weeks of age, right? So this is the brooder cum grower house. Layer house, in which birds over 18 weeks of age are reared and usually up to 72 weeks of age. So in the layer house where the birds lay eggs and the birds are above 18 weeks of age are reared, okay, and up to 72 weeks. Broiler house, in which the broilers are reared up to 6 weeks of age. So here we can see these broilers are up to 6 weeks of age. So we are having different types of houses, right? Layer houses, broiler houses, and according to the breeder houses. Breeder house, in which both male and female breeders are maintained at appropriate sex ratio so that they can breed. Environmentally controlled houses, in which entire environment is manipulated in such a way that is optimum for the bird's growth. So this you can see in the figure that this particular house is environmentally controlled and this is an manipulated environment, that is man-made environment, so that there should be a proper growth of the birds. Okay, so optimal environmental condition for the rearing birds. So let us study about what are the optimal environmental condition if we want to rear any broilers. So the first one is the temperature. So the required temperature is 22 to 30 degrees centigrade, and that is 70 to 85 degree Fahrenheit scale. Relative humidity, that is around 30 to 60%. The humidity should be 30 to 60%. Ammonia level less than 25 ppm, and litter moisture that should be 50 to 25%. Air flow, this is very important, 10 to 30 meters per minute. So this particular environmental condition is maintained in the rearing broilers, for the rearing broilers. House orientation, this is also very important. The poultry house should be located in such a way that long axis is in east-west direction, so that there should be proper sunlight. Okay, so this will prevent the direct sunshine over the bird. So we do not require proper sunlight. Okay, sunshine should not be directly over the bird. So to protect them, the poultry house should be located in such a way that long axis is in east-west direction. Now the size, what is the size of the poultry farm? Each broiler require 1 square foot floor space, while a layer requires 2 square feet of floor space under deep litter system of rearing. So this is the requirement of the floor. Okay, for the broiler we require 1 square foot of floor space, 1 square foot of floor space, and for the layers we require 2 square feet floor space. So this is the condition for broilers and the layers. So the size of the house depend on the number of birds to be reared, and this can be changed according to the number of birds we are going to rear. Length. The length of the house can be of any extent. The number of birds reared and availability of the land determines the length of the poultry house. So length is not fixed. We can decide the length of the poultry house. Okay, and it also depends upon the number of birds we are keeping in the poultry house. Width. The open-sided poultry house in the tropical countries should have a width not more than 22 to 25 feet in order to allow ample ventilation and aeration at the mid portion. So this is very important. Open-side poultry house in the tropical countries should have width not more than 22 to 25 feet, so that there should be a proper ventilation and aeration. Sheds wider than this will not provide adequate ventilation. So if we are having wider shed, then there will not be an adequate type of ventilation during hot weather. So if the width of the shed is more than 25 feet, right? If the shed is more than 25 feet, ridge ventilation at the middle line of the rooftop with proper overhang is must. So if we are having in this particular condition that if the shed is more than 25 feet, right, then in the middle line there should be, at the rooftop there should be again ridge ventilation. Hot air and obnoxious gases which are lighter than air move upward and escape through the ridge ventilation. So this is very important. The harmful gases that are lighter, with the help of ridge ventilation they can escape from the poultry house. In environmentally controlled poultry houses, the width of the house may be even 40 feet or more, since the ventilation is controlled with the help of exhaust fan. So in this case we can keep more than 40 feet. Okay, width of the house can be even more than 40 feet because there is a proper ventilation system, and that is controlled. We can control, that is environmentally, this particular thing is present in the environmentally controlled poultry house. Height. The height of the sides from the foundation to the roof line should be 6 to 7 feet. At the center 10 to 12 feet it should be there. The case of cage house, the height is decided by the type of cage arrangement, that is 3-tier or 4-tier. So in the cage houses, the height is divided by the type of cage arrangement, whether it is a 3-tier or 4-tier. According to that, the height of the cage is decided. Foundation. Good foundation is essential to prevent the seepage of water into the poultry shed. Very important point. There should not be any seepage of water in the poultry shed. The foundation of the house should be concrete with 1 to 1 feet below the surface and 1 to 1 feet above the ground level. So this is the foundation. Floor. The floor should be made of concrete with a rat-proof device and free from the dampness. There should not be any type of dampness at the floor because it can cause many type of disease to the birds. The floor of the house should be extended 1.5 feet outside the wall on all sides to prevent rat and snake problem. So to prevent rat and snake problem, okay, so there should be an extended 1.5 feet outside the wall on all the sides of the floor. All the sides of the floor, 1.5 feet. Okay, so that no rat or any type of snakes could enter to this poultry house. Doors. The door must be open outside in case of deep litter poultry house. Okay, so the door must be open outside. So if there is a lot of deep litter, so that can hinder to open the door, right? So the size of door is preferably 6 into 10.5 feet. This must be the size of the door. At the entry, a foot bath should be constructed to fill with the disinfectant, and there should be disinfectant also. Okay, that is the foot bath, so that no spread of disease. Side walls. The side wall should be 1 to 1.5 feet height and generally at the level of bird's back height. This wide wall protects the bird during the rainy days or chill climate and also provides sufficient ventilation. So we do not want to block the ventilation, right? We do not want to block the ventilation, but at the time of rainy season, we do not want the rain to come inside, the water to come inside, and even the cold, to protect them from the cold. Okay, so this side wall construction is necessary. In case of cage house, no side wall is needed, but if there is a cage house, then there is no need of constructing the side walls. Roof. The roof of the poultry house may be thatched, tiled, asbestos, concrete, one depending upon the cost involvement. So according to the capital we are having, according to the money we are having, we can make the roof of the poultry house. That can be thatched, that can be tiled, asbestos, or the concrete one even. Different types of roofs are shed, gable, half monitor, full monitor, flat concrete, gambrel, and gothic, etc. The gable type is mostly preferred in the tropical countries like India. So this is one of the important point. Gable type is preferred in India. Overhang. The overhang of the roof should not be less than 3.5 feet in order to prevent the entry of rainwater into the shed. So there should be overhang so that no water should come in the poultry house or the poultry farm. Okay, for that there should be construction of overhang, and that should be 3.5 feet ideally. Lighting facility is very important. Light should be provided at 7 to 8 feet above the ground level, must be hanged from the ceiling. So there should be a proper lighting facility, and that should be above the ground, that is 7 to 8 feet above the ground. If incandescent bulbs are used, the interval between the two bulbs should be 10 feet. So in between 10 feet there should be a proper lighting. 10 feet, right? In case of fluorescent light, tube light, then the interval can be 15 feet. And if we are using fluorescent light, right, then we can keep this distance around 15 feet. So this is the arrangement in the poultry farm for the lighting. System of the poultry housing. Poultry can be housed under the different system based on following factors: availability of land, cost of land, type of farming activity, climatic condition, and labor availability. So according to all these factors, keeping in mind, we can determine or we can make up our poultry housing layout, right? So this is all about this session. We will have one more session to complete this particular topic. Till then, thank you very much.